Ahoy there, sky sailors and sea dogs alike. I'm Captain Cloud, once a wanderer of restless waters, now a humbled admirer of the bold souls who answer distress calls from above. Out there, when the wind turns cruel and the sea shows her teeth, it's not treasure hunters who come over the horizon. It's United States Coast Guard Aviation, the steady thrum of an MH-60, the sharp whine of an MH-65, machines crewed by men and women trained to wrestle storms and pull hope from chaos. Today, we'll bear witness to 5 missions. Real rescues, real training, real courage, drawn straight from official Coast Guard footage. No tall tales, just hard truth from the edge of sea and sky. So strap in, mates, and keep your eyes to the horizon. The guardians of the coast are inbound. Ahoy there, ye salty sea dogs. Gather round and feast your eyes on a tale straight from the stormy edges of the Gulf. For not all treasure be gold and silver. Sometimes the greatest prize be a life hauled safely back from the brink. On a cold January day in the marshy wilds east of New Orleans, 3 duck hunters found themselves trapped. Their vessel run hard aground in the unforgiving muck of the Biloxi Wildlife Management Area. No sails, no engines, no easy path home, just miles of wetland, creeping darkness, and the chill hand of danger closing in. When land betrays ye and water won't carry ye, there's only one crew bold enough to answer the call. From the skies thundered a Coast Guard MH-60 Jayhawk, blades slicing the air like a cutlass through canvas, a flying fortress of orange and white, crewed by guardians who fear neither wind nor wave. These be no ordinary sailors. These be sky pirates of mercy, sworn to pluck souls from peril. Inside that roaring beast of a helicopter stood a young rescue swimmer. Petty Officer 3rd Class, Benjamin Ziegler. This be his first true rescue, his first dance with danger beyond training decks and practice drills. Every pirate remembers their first storm, and this was his. Below, the stranded hunters waved from their grounded craft, surrounded by endless marsh and freezing water. No road, no harbor, no escape but through the sky. The Jayhawk steadied itself against gusting winds, hovering like a hawk over prey, except today, it hunted fear itself. The rescue swimmer dropped from the belly of the machine, descending through rotor wash and spray, boots splashing into the shallows beside the stranded men. One by one, the hunters were secured, hoisted skyward on a line no thicker than a rope of fate. Each ascent a silent promise. Ye will not be left behind. The marsh swallowed sound. The rotor thunder echoed across the reeds. And above it all, teamwork, calm, practiced, relentless, turned chaos into choreography. This be the craft of rescue, precision in the storm, courage in the cold, trust in the crew. Minutes stretched long as rigging in a gale, but soon all 3 souls were lifted safely aboard. The Jayhawk turned toward home, carrying not cargo, but victory. Another day, the sea tried to claim its due. And another day, the Coast Guard said not today. For out here, where maps fade and nature rules, the guardians of the air stand watch, and when the call comes crackling over the radio, they answer. Every time. So raise a mug to the crews who fly into weather others flee, to the swimmers who leap into darkness, and to the unbreakable bond between those in peril and those sworn to save them. For as long as storms rage and sailors roam, there will be heroes of the Coast Guard always ready. From the marshlands of Louisiana to the open Atlantic off Florida's coast, the calls don't stop. Different waters, same creed. When a beacon flares to life 75 miles offshore, a crew spins up without hesitation. Let's head southeast, where another mariner waits for that familiar sound overhead. 75 miles off the Florida coast, a lone mariner sits helpless aboard a crippled vessel. No wind to carry him, no engine to save him, only open water, and a beacon crying for help. And from the horizon comes thunder. A Coast Guard helicopter cuts through the air, racing the clock. No hesitation, no delay. just guardians of the sky closing in fast. The swimmer drops, the hoist line falls, and in moments, the stranded sailor rises from the sea like treasure reclaimed from the deep. A quick response close to shore is one thing, but sometimes the sea demands more. Sometimes she pushes a vessel 450 miles from land into 20-foot seas and fading light. When that happens, you don't just send a helicopter. You launch the long reach of the fleet. Let's step aboard a C-130 out of Elizabeth City. Ahoy! Far beyond the reach of shore, a small sailing vessel is drowning in open ocean. 450 miles from land, waves hammer the hull, and 3 mariners fight to keep their ship alive. A distress beacon cries out, and the Coast Guard answers. A mighty HC-130. Hercules roars into the storm, racing across the darkening sea. From high above, the aircrew becomes the eyes of the rescue, finding the crippled vessel and calling in help. Nearby, the motor tanker Radiant Pride turns toward danger, guided by the Hercules overhead. Aircraft and ship move as one crew now, strangers bound by a single mission. Through towering seas, the tanker closes in, and the mariners are pulled from the sinking sailboat to safety. Not every mission ends with a hoist and a handshake. Some flights are about foresight, reading the water before it turns treacherous. From pounding seas offshore to frozen arteries of commerce along the Delaware River. Now we ride with an MH-65 on an ice assessment patrol. Ahoy! Many believe the Coast Guard's work begins when disaster strikes, when ships break, when radios scream, when the sea demands payment. But the truest victories are often won in silence, long before a Mayday ever echoes across the water. Winter grips the Delaware River with an icy fist. What was once open highway for commerce becomes a shifting labyrinth of frozen steel. Beneath the calm surface lies danger. Pressure ridges, hidden jams, channels closing without warning. A single misstep out here could trap a vessel, halt a harbor, or endanger lives. So the Guardians rise early. An MH-65 Dolphin lifts into the winter air, rotors carving through the cold as the crew begins their watch. This is not a rescue flight. No flashing emergency. No desperate voice on the radio. This is prevention. From above, the river reveals its secrets. Ice patterns stretch like cracked glass. Currents carve narrow paths through frozen sheets. The crew studies every mile, mapping hazards invisible from the bridge of a ship. Each observation becomes protection. Because the maritime world runs on trust. Trust that the channel is safe. Trust that the passage is known. Trust that someone is watching ahead. And today, that trust rides in the belly of a helicopter. The Dolphin glides low, steady, and patient. The aircrew calls out formations, thickness, movement. Sector commanders receive the picture in real time, turning aerial knowledge into decisions that keep traffic flowing and sailors safe. No cheers greet this mission. No headlines announce its success. And yet, every ship that passes safely tomorrow sails because of flights like this today. This be the hidden craft of guardianship, to stand between danger and those who may never know it was there. For the Coast Guard's oath is not only to rescue the lost, but to prevent the loss itself. Ice gives way to shoal water, and even calm days can turn costly when a hull meets the bottom. Near Winyah Bay, a sailor and his four-legged shipmate find themselves stranded. Let's head south with another MH-65 crew, because no one, not even a sea dog of the furry kind, gets left behind. Ahoy! When the sea takes hold of a vessel, it cares little for names, cargo, or companions. Near Winyah Bay, a sailing craft lies stranded, her keel trapped fast. A lone mariner waits aboard, and beside him, his most loyal crewmate, a dog who knows only that the world has turned uncertain. The call goes out. An MH-65. Dolphin races in low, bright against the sky. The crew wastes no motion. The hoist drops. First the sailor, then his faithful mate, lifted clear of the grounded ship and into the roar of safety. No injuries, no tragedy, just a clean escape from a bad turn of fate. Because out here, Every soul aboard matters. I've sailed through squalls that split masts, and I've seen what happens when help comes too late. That's why these crews earn my respect. From the marshes of Louisiana to waters 450 miles offshore, from frozen rivers to shallow shoals, the men and women of Coast Guard Aviation stand the watch above it all. The steady lift of an MH-60, the sharp agility of an MH-65, the long reach of a C-130, different machines, same promise. When the sea turns unforgiving, they answer. I may have once chased fortune across the horizon, but these crews, they chase something far greater. Until next time, keep your compass true and your eyes to the sky.